What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Cervantes Podcast. Joining me today to discuss growing up Latina in New York City and Florida, starring in her first short film, modeling, and choosing your own destiny, is actress and model Destiny Ribot. How are you doing today, Destiny?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you for asking. Thank you for bringing me onto the podcast. I'm
Of
happy to be here.
course. Thank you for being here. So, my first question I want to ask you, where are you from? New York City first or Florida?
I am from Florida. So I was born in Hollywood, Florida, which is
Mm.
by the beach, Hollywood Beach, pretty much.
Okay.
And then, yeah, and then after that, I moved at like 5 years old to Southwest Florida. So I pretty much grew up in Florida my whole life and only recently moved to New York like 3 years ago.
Okay. And what was it like? What would you say was like growing up Latina, growing up Puerto Rican in Florida versus here in New York City?
It's now that I'm older and I know more about my heritage, I can make that observation, and it's definitely different. Um, I think Florida and New York are just different and like by themselves. So adding like, you know, something like being Hispanic just makes it even more different, but it's both positive. I would say that over here in New York, I find a lot more people that I can relate to or that are a little bit more like me. Um, Not saying there's not Hispanics in Florida because they're everywhere as well,
Right.
but I didn't get to meet as many people in Florida as I do over here. You meet so many people a day. So it's your chances of meeting people like you are more high than in
Right.
Florida.
And when you were there, you were younger. So now that you're an adult, you get to like, go on an adventure, work, meet people, hang out, go clubbing. So it's different. And also, this may be like a little ignorant, but like when I think of Florida, I think of Cuban. When I think of California, I think of Mexican. Here in New York, it's very much Puerto Rican and Dominican. So it's definitely I'm sure there's a lot less Puerto Ricans there than here in New York, for sure.
No, yeah, there's a lot of Puerto Ricans in New York. So there's no question about that.
For sure. Do you have family both here and there?
Yes, I do. My parents actually, my dad is from the Bronx and my mom is from Newark, New Jersey. So I
Oh,
have
nice.
most of my family up north is in New Jersey, just different parts.
Oh,
I have
nice.
I have some family members upstate in New York, and then the rest is just in Florida.
And have you been to Puerto Rico?
Once I went once, and I actually went this year for my 21st birthday.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. So according to an NBC News article from March of this year by journalist Edwin Flores, he reported that Ariana DeBose recently told Lin-Manuel Miranda in a video interview that she didn't feel she could represent Latinas in West Side Story well enough because she wasn't a fluent Spanish speaker. She even turned down auditioning for it 4 times. That is the role she won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress at this year's Academy Awards, which made her the first Afro-Latina to win an Oscar. As a Latino who does not speak Spanish fluently yourself, can you relate to this? Did anyone ever make you feel like you weren't Latina enough?
So it's a super great point that you're bringing up, and I'm glad that we're touching on it. I am not fluent in Spanish, and it's something that I just like I struggle with. Growing up, my parents didn't teach me for whatever reasons they thought, but everyone in my family speaks it. So of course I've gotten like the you're a fake Hispanic or you're a fake Puerto Rican because you don't speak Spanish. And it's like I understand like tú entiende, but I don't speak it fluently. And it's something that I have to work on and learn. But in the acting world, I have as well turned down auditions and possible opportunities that were for Spanish speaking, and I didn't feel comfortable. I felt like as well I couldn't represent it well enough. So I definitely relate to that. But I think that, like she won the award and she made it possible, and never will I allow it to like discourage me to the point where I don't believe it's going to happen because I know it's going to happen. But you just got to put in the work. I'm going to put in the work. And I'm just going to prove everybody wrong.
Yes. No, I love that because I feel like when I found that article, I was like, what? That's crazy. And not crazy that she can't speak Spanish fluently, but that she turned down a role that she performed so well and won an Oscar for, and so many other awards for it. It makes me sad because I feel like we do it to each other, speak Latinos, like, oh, like, you're a fake Puerto Rican. Oh, of course you're Puerto Rican. You don't speak Spanish, or you're a fake Latino. You don't speak Spanish. And I think that's very mean because that if you do that, I feel like people will like, okay, well, I'm not gonna learn then, or maybe I am a fake Latino and let me try to assimilate to another culture and fit in over here because my own people won't like let me in, if that makes sense. So I feel like no, like don't I feel like for people like watching who can relate, don't feel like don't feel like you're less than something just because you don't have this part when you still practice the culture, your name, your last name, you know who you are, you know what
Right.
culture you practice. So I feel like don't let anyone take that away from you. For me, like I don't speak Spanish fluently. My mom's Puerto Rican, my dad's Jamaican, and when I go to work at like Hollister, I try to like Google Translate like certain phrases to help my because Yonkers is very there's a lot of like Latinos, Spanish speaking people in Yonkers. So I try to like help the customers instead of like asking my other coworkers to help. I try to do it myself. And sometimes I mess up, and sometimes I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. My Spanish is muy ratatata. It's not very good. It's not very good. And honestly, it makes the conversation better. Like customers laugh, my coworkers laugh. And I just feel like I don't know, it's fun to practice. And I gotta, watch more Univision and watch more Spanish news. But the process to me is fun. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like we should just practice and try. And if I've only had one customer get mad. Out of all the customers I've helped, one person got mad that I didn't know Spanish. So I feel like, I'm doing something right. And I feel like that's that's the energy we should have. Because I'm sure there's people who are like Italian who can't speak Italian, but I don't think they're getting shamed or like with other languages or cultures too. So yeah, I thought that was a good point to bring up.
Yeah, it was. It was a good point that you said too. I mean, it's super fun. I think it's super fun to learn. I was just on Duolingo this morning, and I can sing Bad Bunny songs, and like I know Spanish, but I don't know anything.
It be like that. I know every word. I know every
Yeah.
word to certain bachata songs, but it's like in conversation, I'm like, what did she just say? What did he just
Right.
and that's another reason why like I wanted to do a podcast episode eventually in Spanish. I'm sure I'm probably gonna sound crazy, but I just feel like it'll be fun for like my viewers, and I just think it'll be different. So yeah, hopefully one day soon I can do that, and I'm sure one day like you can take a role eventually that is Spanish speaking, whether you're fluent or not. Because I'm sure there's people like Ariana DeBose who take roles like that. But I'm just sure you take your craft very seriously. You want to make sure that okay, let me know the language first before I do
Mhm.
this on screen. You know.
Yeah. But I mean, anything's possible. I do agree. And there's always like coaches that can train you and teach you.
That's true. Switching gears a little bit, you said you grew up Puerto Rican. What are some of your favorite dishes?
So yeah, I used to eat so good as a like because I'm vegan now. So I've been vegan
Oh,
for
okay.
like a year, and then I was vegetarian for another year before that. So I haven't really indulged in a lot of things.
Okay.
But nonetheless, they are still super yummy. Things like arroz con gandules, empanadas, maduros. Um, what else? What else? What else? Oh
No,
my
those are
goodness.
good. Making me
Oh,
hungry.
like panin, like that's like, every holiday you make a nice like panin.
Yes.
Um, bro, just like boy gisao, that's like chicken stew. I love that.
Yeah. Like when you're sick, especially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro. I used to eat so good. And like my family back home, they make all these things. And it's like when I go back home, like for Thanksgiving. I mean, actually last year for Thanksgiving, I didn't even eat with my family. I didn't go where they went because I was like, I'm vegan and I feel like I just felt so like separate, you know, and like I didn't even want to be around all that good food because
It's too
I
tempting.
know, you know, I mean, it's not tempting, but because like when I taste it, I don't like it anymore, which is weird.
Oh, okay.
But it's like just the smell and just like also the commentary, you know, like not everyone is used to people being vegan. So you get a lot of just
Yeah, like
criticism,
eye rolls, like, oh, okay, she's trying to be healthy. Like, yes, I am.
right? Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that so much. And I'm not even vegan, but there's times where like I want to incorporate a salad and there's everyone's looking at me like, what?
I know, right? Like, damn, I didn't even think it was that bad.
But what's crazy is there's this girl that I used to follow on Instagram. She's a Latina vegan and she makes like popular Latino dishes vegan style. Have you ever thought
Yes.
about that?
Yes, I have thought about it. I mean, I've been to like restaurants where I've eaten certain foods that are Hispanic and vegan, but I have yet to actually go to like a fully because I know that there's one spot that I've been meaning to go to in my friend told me about it in like Queens. It's a Dominican vegan spot.
Ooh,
And
okay.
I hear that it's so good. I want to try it so bad, but I just haven't had the time, really.
Okay.
But I'm gonna get there.
Yes, yeah, and I love how California, I heard, has a bunch of like vegan Mexican restaurants, like a whole bunch of restaurants over there. They need to make more here in New York. We want to be
No,
healthy too.
yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of vegan restaurants, but I feel like most of the food is like, and not American style, but just like, you know, like basic foods. Like you don't really
Okay.
see like oh, you know what? There's a China because I live in Chinatown. So there's a Chinese vegan spot and it's like 5 minutes
Oh,
away from me. And it's so good. I've gone there like 15 times in the
I love
last like
that.
two or 3 weeks.
Like that ethnic, because you can vegan food doesn't have to taste bad. Like just season it properly. People think like, oh, it just tastes like nasty. No, you can. I think it's all about seasoning, how you
Mhm.
cook it, and yeah, there's different cultures. There's different cultures that you can make their food vegan or vegetarian. Why
Mhm.
did you go vegan?
So, like I said before, I went vegetarian first, and it was like, I don't even know why I went vegetarian. Um, for reasons that probably don't make sense. And then
Okay,
I wind up being like a year later, I'm like, hmm, I'm still not really feeling that good in my body. So I was just like, let me try being vegan. Let me like cut out the dairy and the bread. At first, I thought it was gluten free. I don't know. I think my anxiety makes me like think things, and I'm like, no, girl, that's not it. So I'm not gluten free. Like I'm just like,
okay.
but I just choose to be vegan. And so I did it. I just went cold turkey, and I liked it. I don't know. And I was just like, then I wound up learning about the animals and just like the lifestyle and more of just like being on a natural like life like natural organic like everything in my life type of thing
Yeah,
and then it wound up just being a whole vegan lifestyle, you know, like you learn as you go and then it like opens your mind and your consciousness and everything to just so much stuff that I would say I don't want to say non-vegans but some people
no,
most
yeah,
people.
and it makes sense because I feel like you're very like nutrition oriented. Like if you look on like your Instagram or your Instagram stories, what you post very fitness, working out. So it all makes sense. Like I can't work out in the gym, but then eat McDonald's. That doesn't make sense. So
Right,
it makes sense that
right.
you're vegan. Some people argue like, oh, where are you getting your protein? Where do you get your protein? Is that through beans and certain feed like that?
Yes, yes. There's like, I mean, you can get them from beans, lentils, there's tofu, there's tempeh, there's protein like powder, you know, like there's things like vegetable protein or things that you can actually just put into your food and it will taste the same, but it gives you that plant-based protein. Um,
Okay.
I mean, vegetables, like I don't know, just like anything really plant-based. I think if you kind of have a healthy balance of everything, you'll get what you need because, you know, the certain amount of fats, starches, protein. Like people sometimes people will think that all I need is protein, but like I need protein and all these other things. So,
Right.
you know, like it's having like a bowl of just different things and then like beans and quinoa and that all that stuff included, you're getting your protein intake.
And what are some like stores or like that or brands that you recommend for people who are interested in being vegan? Would that be like Trader Joe's, Whole Foods?
I like Trader Joe's. That's where I do all my grocery shopping, only because it's
Okay,
closest to me. Also, it's cheap.
nice.
Um, they have organic options and then, you know, like non-organic options. I would say like to anyone that wants to know the difference between the fresh products that you should buy is the stickers on them. Look up the numbers and what they mean, and it'll tell you like if they're sprayed with pesticides or different
I
things
didn't
like
even
that.
know that. Okay.
Yeah, like it's like if it starts with a number 4, I don't want to like say like the wrong things, but I would just say look that up. But yeah, I like Trader Joe's because they have like a lot of options and they have a lot of options for everyone. So like everything that they have regular, they have a plant-based version. And I just really
Oh,
like that.
nice.
Yeah.
Was it difficult at first transitioning into becoming vegan from vegetarian? Or no, because
Yes.
you had that slow like vegetarian then vegan.
I think it was a little difficult only because you don't realize how much dairy or how much dairy that you consume, like or just like things in your life that you use that have dairy in them. So like your butter, your mayo, your milk, your dressings, like even certain dry foods, you know, they have different dairy products in them. So it was just a matter of replacing everything that I have in my kitchen with a vegan version. So it took time, it took money, but
Right. Cause that
now,
too. That too.
right. And also, yeah, that's the money part, especially then living by yourself in New York City with like probably a shitty job. It's like you don't have all the money to get all the food, but
No.
like I said, it's a lifestyle. So, you know, you make your sacrifices and
Yeah, make food at
yeah,
home instead of
exactly.
ordering out for
Yeah.
sure. Oh, so who are some of your favorite Latin artists?
Ooh, Bad Bunny, of course.
Yes, I wish I got to
No,
see
I
him in
have
concert when he came to Yankee Stadium
Yankee
last summer.
Stadium.
That would have been so cool. Have you seen him in concert?
I haven't, no, but I know so many people that went, and I know this one guy that went, and he snuck into the concert, and he told, like, he put on his Instagram story to like everyone come and sneak in, and mad people snuck in, mad people snuck in,
That's crazy. I wonder
right?
like what happened with that. I wonder if they got in trouble or if they're just able to see
No,
him for
yeah, they were
free.
just able, yeah, and
That's
close
insane.
too, close,
Wow.
yeah.
Because I know so many people were in the front, so it's crazy how they got to go that close. Wow. Is there anybody else you would like to see in concert or anyone else on your playlist?
Yes, I actually have like a list because I have so many.
Okay.
Okay, I like Bad Bunny. This is only a few: J Balvin, Osuna,
Ooh,
Selena, Mark
nice.
Anthony. There's Jerry Rivera. He's like older, but he has great music. Carol
Okay.
G, Anuel, El Alfa, Pitbull, Daddy Yankee, J
Yes.
Lo,
Yes.
Rosalia.
Love that. Love
Those
that.
are all
So
like,
some
you know,
legends and some
yeah,
newer artists.
right, right,
We love
yeah.
that. And have you got to see if you could see like three of them, who would you see in concert?
Definitely the older ones. So Jerry Rivera,
Okay.
Selena, like rest in peace. Um, and I mean, Daddy Yankee just had his last concert like ever, and I missed it. So I'd be down to see Daddy Yankee
So
if I
sad about
could.
that. Yeah, that would be cool. I
Yeah,
can't believe he retired. That's crazy.
I know.
In your Instagram bio, it says you're in control of your own destiny. For you, what does that look like to live and be in control of your own destiny?
Oh, I love that. It's like my favorite thing that I have. I think I say that, and it means to me that everything that I do on a daily basis is like is what I'm gonna get out of life, you know? So like my decisions and how I control my reactions, my responsibilities, my life is where I'm going to wind up being. And I think, and then that's my destiny, or like, so I mean, everyone has their destiny and everyone has, you know, their journey kind of already planned out secretly, but you still have so much control of how positively or negatively it can go and it can get. And I think that if I try to just be like the most positive I can be and the most like, you know, just a good person, then I think I'm still going to go through shit and I'm still going to have mad problems in life, but I'm just going to get so much more good karma back versus bad karma. And it kind of makes me feel like, all right, I know I'm going to be okay. So don't stress.
I love that. Yeah. I'm definitely believer in karma. What goes around comes around for sure.
For sure.
And yeah, we're in our 20s. I'm 22. You said you're 21.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, this is the time, this next like decade. And it's scary because it's like, oh my God, we're running out of time. But at the same time, we're not, because we are so young. But this is the time to like make mistakes, learn. This is the groundwork so that when we reach our 30s, it's not that we'll have everything figured out, but it's like it's a lot better. Like I've heard people like, oh, like my 20s was a mess, but like when you get to 30, you'll be okay. Or when you get to 40, you'll have like a certain sense of like, I don't give a about anything. This is me. So I'm excited to get older because I like my youth, but I'm excited to get older to reach that like that sense of like peace of like, okay, like I don't have to worry about Instagram or like things that are not important. I can worry about like, okay, choosing your own path, choosing your own destiny, focusing on my career, focusing on what's important, because family, real friends, like that's those really important things. So I like what you said. I was gonna ask you, switching gears to like career, who or what initially made you want to go into acting and modeling?
So when I was really young, so I'm the youngest of four siblings. So
okay,
for the longest, I shared a bedroom with my sister, and I was obsessed with Disney Channel. Like,
same.
I was obsessed.
Same.
but I mean, who wasn't? Like, Disney Channel was
We
popular.
were all doing the
like every night, like at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, you best believe I'm watching Shake It Up Chicago. And I'm gonna sit there. I'm like, I would sit in front of my TV and just watch, like not even sitting down. I would stand and watch.
Oh wow.
Because also I was blind. I was blind. So I didn't want to wear my glasses. So I would just have to like, you know. So I was obsessed with Shake It Up Chicago because of the dancing. I literally wanted to like jump in the TV and dance with them.
Okay. That was your show.
Yes, that was my show. And it made me want to be a dancer. It made me want to be an actress. It made me want to be just an artist, like a performer. Because I knew I had it in me. And then also my biggest brother, like he danced and he was just in all of that as well. So it made me be like, oh, I want to do it too. And I knew, and I knew that I could. So I became like, I don't know, just Zendaya was just everything to me. And then growing up, she always was just my favorite. But I kind of hid what I wanted to be for a long time because I was like a pretty like chunky girl growing up.
Okay.
And I just didn't feel like confident enough, you know, like everyone else. So I think it just like, it was in the back of my mind that I knew I was going to be something special one day, but I don't know. I was just chilling, you know? And so 5th grade, I did like a play and it was Alice in Wonderland. And I played a boy because I didn't feel, you know, like I was still chunky and I didn't feel like that confident. So I played the narrator actually.
Okay.
And so I dressed like a boy and I like narrated the whole entire play. And that just made me like, it set me off the top. Like I just wanted to be an actor. Like I knew deep down I'm going to be an actor. Like, and I used to write in those books that they would give you in school. Like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be an actress. And then I just
Wow.
let it go. Going into middle school and high school, I didn't care. I didn't do anything involving drama or nothing because I just thought the kids were weird. I thought I wasn't going to fit in. I thought that I just didn't know. I didn't know. Like, I just thought that I was just so different and like that I wasn't necessarily gonna just be like them, you know? And so finally, I was like, towards the end of my high school years, I got back into it and I did this thing. I signed up for Barbizon. It's a modeling and
Okay.
acting school. I
Yes,
don't
I
know if
think I've
you've
heard
ever
of
heard of
them.
it. Okay. So I signed up for that and then I got a call and then they told me to like come for and like basically to find out what it is. I wind up really wanting to do it. It was a lot of money, but my parents were like, if you're serious about it and you really want to do it, then we will invest in it, but you have to take it serious. So I wind up doing like a 6-month schooling. I learned all about acting, modeling, etiquette, being a lady, like the
That's
industry.
amazing.
And then also growing up in school, I did a lot of public speaking as well. I was a cheerleader. So like I wasn't like too far off of like the headspace that you need to be in.
Right.
So I learned so much from Barbizon. I wind up graduating from the school, graduating from high school a year early. And then I started
Nice.
competing in the competitions that they had for acting and modeling. And then my first one, I was very fresh. I didn't know too much, you know, but I wound up getting a scholarship
Nice.
to NYCDA, which is the college here in New York that I graduated
Wow, that's awesome.
from.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's like it's crazy, like how pretty much everything is because of Barbizon. Because now I'm gonna work for them. Like I've already worked for them, and I'm gonna work again for them.
And that was
So
when
it's
you were
just
17 when you started at Barbizon?
yes, 17.
Wow. That's crazy. No, that's amazing. That's amazing. I think that's where you learn, and it's crazy because a lot of people I feel like, oh, I've always wanted to be an actor or actress and I started when I was 6, but no, it's never too late to start. And like you said, you weren't too far off with it because you had that kind of a little bit of relevant experience with public speaking and cheerleading. Like those are both performance in front of an audience. So I'm sure that helped a lot.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
awesome. What type of do you think you want to do more film, more television in terms of acting?
I think for sure. I am very interested in film and TV acting. I want to do I want to do everything. I want to do commercials,
Okay.
movies, TV shows, YouTube episodes, like TikTok videos. Like I'm down for really anything.
Okay.
Maybe even theater. Like why not? I did that play back then, and I feel like I still got it in me. Um, so
No,
I'm
yeah.
pretty just open, and I feel like it's good to be open in this industry. Like I'm even open to being behind the camera, like on set. You know, like helping out with whatever.
You learn so much, like as a crew. Like that's what I went to college for, television production, and I'm applying for jobs like behind the camera, production assistant, associate producer, stuff like that. So I feel like I learned so much about production and like how things work. And I used to like, I think when I was younger, like, oh, I want to be in front of the camera. But taking classes and learning like everything that goes on behind the camera, that seems so much more interesting to me. And I feel like there's a lot of longevity there too, career wise, behind
Yeah,
the
no,
camera.
for
So
sure.
it's so cool. Who are some of your favorite? So you mentioned Zendaya. Who are there any other actors or models that you look up to or inspired by?
Yes. So start like at the start of my journey, I definitely like Zendaya, and with models, I I didn't know too much about modeling, so of course I saw like the Hadid sisters, and I became
Right.
obsessed with them and just like kind of learning from them and how they kind of moved in the industry. Not as much, you know, like their appearance and you know the little things that most people look at. I was looking at
Like their
how
career trajectory.
yes, like the art, the technique of modeling and how to just be in a paid model, you know. But then I started, you know, exploring more, and now I like a lot of other models as well. And I appreciate all different kinds of models and all different kinds of modeling. But again, that's like with time, you know, you as you learn, you appreciate different things. And eventually I just learned to appreciate all forms of art, and it really helps. But as far as actors, I do love like Will Smith, Jim Carrey,
Nice.
Lakeith Stanfield, love him.
Yes, he's very talented.
Regina King,
Love
um,
her, love her.
love her. Is it Jacqueline Phoenix or is it
Oh, Joaquin.
Oh my
I
God,
used to mess up on his name
Joaquin.
too.
Literally, I've heard that name so many times and I still don't know how to say it. And I love him because he's also vegan.
Nice, nice. And he played in The Joker, which I never saw, but I heard he did a really amazing job. I heard it's a great
Oh my
movie.
God, you didn't see it?
No,
You
I
should
never
see
saw
it.
it. I never saw.
It's
I gotta
really
find
good. I've
it.
seen it like 4 times.
What is it about that film that I think so many people love?
He he's like, oh my God, he's so talented. He studied this role and got into this role like so well that it's just mesmerizing to just watch him just be still and like literally doing nothing, and just because in the movie he has like a condition. So
Okay,
he's not just like your regular average normal person. He's a little weird, he's a little quirky, he a little dangerous too, very
right.
curious. So, you know, he just plays all these things, and he plays them all at the same time, but you can see each one. And it's just amazing. Like the technique and just his talent is, yeah.
It's not just a regular like villain story. Like it's very
No,
nuanced
yeah,
and
because it's the first time that you actually go into the Joker's background story. You know, like before that movie, nobody really knew that much about where the Joker came from, you know, like what was his deal. So
it
that
was just
movie kind of
Batman and
shows, right,
Catwoman. Yeah.
right. That movie shows like who he is inside and what he went through.
You're selling it right now, so I definitely need to go watch it. Hopefully it's on HBO Max or something. No, because he won an Oscar for that, so I'm definitely sure he did a good job. Did you or do you receive any pushback from people when you say you wanted to go into entertainment as a career?
um, Thankfully, I didn't receive too much. But at the same time, when I decided that I wanted to be an actress, I kind of just decided and left and didn't really tell anyone except my family.
Okay.
So I didn't give anyone a chance to really give
Yeah.
me their opinion. Um, and it was a lot of the time, like back home, I didn't really have too many people that I was close with and that I related to. So it wasn't like, it was just like, you know, like, see ya, you know,
Let
like,
me just do it. Oh, so
yeah,
did you leave Florida and then become an actress here in New York?
yes,
Oh,
yes.
okay, okay. That's awesome. And it makes sense because this is like the hub. It's here in LA.
Hmm.
So it makes
Hmm.
sense. Do
But
you
I
ever
will say, no, I will say, sorry, that my dad, out of all people, it's all out of love, but him being like very aware of a lot of topics in this world and industry that a lot of people are not aware of. He educated me growing up on just so much, you know, like, of course, the negative things that go on in the industry, just so I can be aware myself. And so, with that, you know, he always had worries of like my safety and people taking advantage of me and, you know, selling your soul and things like that. And so you know, like he, out of all people, he was probably the one that gave me just a little bit of a hard time, kind of. He still does. But again, it's all out of love and it's all out of
right.
safety. And at the end of the day, he will support me no matter what. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the only person. I kind of say F the haters. If you have anything to say, I don't even hear it. Like I don't
Yeah,
even
no,
hear
that's how you have to be because it's a very first of all, it's your career, whatever your career is, you have to be happy with that and passion, and because that's what you're gonna end up doing for the majority of your life. So you have to be happy and not care what others think. That's one. Two, it's a very tough industry to get into. Just get into. So you have to like have that confidence and have a good support system, which is great that you have from your family. And three, yeah, being a woman, being a person of color, Latina in industry, that's a whole other like being paid less, not being treated seriously. Um, you're good looking. There's things that come with that too. Like, oh, you're not very smart. So just read the script and do your job. Like, what? I'm a person.
Yeah, yeah, right.
So there's that too. So have those lessons that, your family taught, your dad taught you. Have you had to, you know, what am I trying to say? Have they come into play yet? Have you had to use
Yeah. Honestly, I think yes. In certain situations, I think the biggest lesson that I've learned or that I've gotten to use moving here is to just be aware of my surroundings at all times. I think that's also a New York City thing.
Yes,
Um,
yeah.
but everywhere I go, whether it's outside or inside of a room, I'm aware of everyone that's in it, and I'm aware of anyone that enters or leaves. And I think that's just like a safety thing, like everyone should be eyes open at all times. Because you not only is it do I like observe those things, but I observe people's behavior, people's reactions. I can see if maybe someone secretly doesn't like another person, or like you can read energies off people, and just being quiet and using your eyes, you can see a lot of things that a lot of people don't see. And it's just knowledge for you. You don't have to say anything, but at least
Yeah, people joke like on Twitter or TikTok, like, oh, New Yorkers don't care. They just like look forward and mind their business. But low key, a lot of us are paying attention. We're just maybe not making eye contact, but we are paying attention, like
hmm
on the train or just walking. So that's definitely true. And for women too, it sucks, but you guys definitely have to like, be careful where you are and look both ways, and wherever you are, just be observant. Did you ever feel like you had to move to LA? I feel like a lot of people talk about like, oh, like couldn't find any work in New York. I had to go to LA. Do you feel like that, or do you see yourself? No, I'm gonna stay here and make a name for myself here, or try to.
yeah. I think that for sure the LA topic is in like every actor's mouth. But I think it's all based on yourself and your journey and like what you're comfortable with. I personally think that I decided to move to New York first, and I built a nice group of people around myself, and I'm continuing to build connections. So I'm going to probably stay here for a little bit and see kind of where life takes me. But if I was to get the right connections in LA to make me feel comfortable enough to move there, not just moving there with not knowing anybody, not having a job, not, you know,
Right.
then like if that was the case, then I would move over there. Because I would have someone, or I'd have an agent, or I'd have, a job lined up, or I'm definitely going to travel there soon,
Oh,
probably
nice.
at the
That's
end of
good.
this month, actually.
Oh,
Just for
okay.
yeah, just for fun, but like I'm still gonna be able to see what it's like over there. Um, and then I definitely see myself living over there for sure. Like I know I'm going to, because that's just where there's a lot of work and the movies and the stuff that I
Right.
eventually want to do.
Right. And I hate that it's so expensive. It's kind of like here in New York. Similar opportunities, but the cost of living is just as high, which
Yes.
I didn't realize. I thought it would be like the South, but it's definitely still expensive.
Very expensive. It's crazy.
Yeah, so back in March of this year, you starred in your first short film called Star Wars. The film is about an artist on the brink of eviction who fights for an opportunity to change her life with music on one chaotic day in New York City. But she must choose whether her journey will lead her into the darkness or into the light. What was it like being in your first short film?
It was really cool. Like it was like the highlight of my year last year. Like it was a great way to end 2021, the best way, because it was just, yeah, the year was crazy in itself personally for me. um
Okay.
and then just to finally like say let go of all the craziness, and then boom, the universe just blessed me with my first opportunity like that. I just felt like everything was right. Everything was what I was supposed to be doing, you know, no matter how much of the BS that happened or that I allowed happen. Um, and yeah, it was just amazing. I met so many people, which by the way, I was thinking afterwards, I will definitely put you on to the production team that produced that.
Thank you. Oh my
Because
God.
they're so cool. Like, I think the best part of the short film was it being produced by, first off, an entire production team of colored people. It was
Wow.
amazing vibes. It was like the best vibes. Like everybody was just perfect. Like,
And you don't
and I
see
have
that often.
no, you don't. And they made me feel so comfortable, so good. Like it was only a 2-day shoot, but it was just the best experience ever. And I'm so happy that that was my first time doing that, like on a real film set. Because you know, I've been on like a few, you know, like modeling shoots is just not the same.
Right.
It's a different vibe. And then you get, again, you get to appreciate just everybody's part that goes into the one video you see on your screen.
Yes. Like that's the final project, but there's so many mini projects
So many,
that
so
goes
many.
into it, and no role is too small. Like um the production assistant, the director, the producer, the producer that's in charge of budget, and the producer that's in charge of like the creativity. Like there's so
Mhm.
many different camera, lighting, it's
Sound,
audio. It's
smoke.
so
Literally
yes,
just the little things. It's like
it's so crazy. And
everybody
it's
has to be on point.
yes, everyone has to like be on point, know what they're doing, and it's one thing if like everyone's good at their job, but everyone's mean, versus everyone's good at their job and they're respectful and nice and like
Yeah.
willing to teach the PAs and willing to work with the actors and not just like, here's my script, do it. No, how do you feel, Destiny? Like, do you think she should say this or should she walk like that's so important and that makes all
Yeah.
the difference. I'm sure you know this.
Yeah. That's exactly what happened. It was great. It was great.
What did you learn from that experience, being that was your first short film?
Oh man. I learned a lot. I mean, first of all, again, it goes back to just observing and listening. I think you learn to just listen. And especially as an actor, it's like your job is to know the lines and have them ready any moment. As far as everything else, it's really not your business and not your job unless they ask you, unless they make you a part of it. So it's like you really just go in the corner, sit down, and just let everyone do the work. And when they're ready for you, they're going to call you. So I just sat there and I watched everything happen. I watched everyone talk to each other and set everything up. And I feel like now I could do each of the roles, you know, like I could be on a
Okay.
production set and I could be the, say, photography assistant, or like the boom, or the girl
Yeah.
that does the little clap thing. I forgot what that's called.
Oh,
Um,
the slate. I forgot the name of her.
Slate.
The slate. Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, I just learned to listen and just observe, and that you can learn so much more if you just sit back, you know?
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And I think I just lost my train of thought. But I think that's awesome to sit back and learn. Oh, a lot of actors I've noticed after a certain point in their career, they start going behind the camera. So it's so interesting that you say that so early in your career, like, oh, I see myself doing the other side of production and working behind the camera. Because like Regina King now, she's directing, or a lot of actors are directing now or producing. Um, do you see yourself directing one day, or like, or maybe producing, having your own production company? Is there any role in particular behind the camera that sticks out?
Um, yeah, I definitely see myself being behind the camera. So in college, when I was studying TV and film, they made us do every role just so we can
Right.
know. So whenever my classmates were filming their scenes, say I was camera one or camera two, or I was sound, or I was um doing the slate, or I was holding up like a little like shining board, you know, to help with the light.
Yes.
So I for sure can see myself doing that. I mean, I have before just helped. But I never thought about like having my own production company. That'd be pretty cool. You know, I always thought
Yeah.
about my own business, but I never knew if I was going to do like a health version, you know, like whether it be plant-based restaurant or gym or, but a
Right.
production company would be cool too.
I think that'd be awesome, and like employ people who look like you, people of color, because I think a lot
Yeah.
of times it's like people in Hollywood are like, oh, like, you know, we tried to hire, but there's none available. No, you're not giving them opportunity. Like there's plenty of Black talent, plenty of Latino talent out there, whether it's actors or people behind the camera. It's just they're not given the opportunity. So when you said it was a predominantly all like people of color team, I was like, oh my God, you don't really hear about that. So that's awesome. And hopefully, you
Yeah.
know, maybe you can, and that creates jobs when you create production companies, like when you create
Exactly.
companies like that, it creates jobs. Do you have any pre-scene acting rituals?
You know, I think like the whole 24 hours before you do your scene is kind of like your pre, like how you're going to get into it. You know, I think how you spend that day before, making sure you get the right amount of sleep, the good foods, making sure you just feel happy and good about yourself, because at the end of the day, acting is, you're using your body as your instrument. So that's why I think that I don't think, I know every actor should be working out. Every actor should be eating healthy, drinking plenty of water, because you're literally using your body for 12, 15, 20 hours a day on set. And it needs to be healthy, you know, it needs to be active. And so I think I just like to just take care of myself, you know,
Right.
make sure that my skin feels good, it looks good. I don't have, you know, spots. If I do have spots, let me take care of that the night before. Let me make sure that my bag is packed, you know, like everything that I need is ready before I go to sleep.
Right.
And then the day of, making sure I get breakfast, making sure I'm hydrated, making sure I know all my lines 100,000%, making sure I have all the contacts, you know, like I think just making sure you have all your ducks lined up in a row. That way you can not have anxiety and you can feel safe and secure and know that everything you had to do, you did. So if there's any problems, it's not because of you know?
Right. Right.
And
When
I think
when
that,
the director's yelling, it's like not at you
yeah,
because you did your
exactly,
part.
exactly.
Yeah.
Just making sure that your job is good and done and ready to roll. And as long as you're not the problem, things will go smooth for you. You're going to get paid no matter what. And yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think that's, and as production, we try to make sure like we're good and we're not wasting your time trying to get this light together, trying to get this camera together. Because a lot of times I've heard from people in the industry like sometimes talent will get mad if like the camera person messes up. And I'm like,
Mm,
wow, like the big name talents, they'll get upset if things aren't together. I'm like, oh, so eventually I have to get my, you know, my SHIT together so I don't get the talent upset, because we don't want to waste your time. It's very expensive. The higher
mhm.
up you go in your career and like the bigger productions you work on. So it's like we don't want to waste anyone's time. We want to make sure everything's okay. But as long as you're making sure that you know you're organized, you prepared, so that when it's time for rehearsal, you're good and you don't have to have that stress and anxiety like you mentioned before. That's
Right,
important.
exactly.
Your acting in the short film was incredible, and you're singing too. Do you ever see yourself becoming a music artist or possibly going into musical theater or just doing more singing roles?
Aw, well, thank you.
Of course.
The singing was actually not me. Shout out to Sandflower. She is the
Oh,
artist. She's the
okay.
one that wrote the song and sang the song. She also co-produced or was the assistant producer on set. She works
Oh,
for
interesting.
Sprayground. Super cool. Literally, her name is Sandflower. On Instagram, it's Sandflower Power. So follow her.
Love
Um,
that.
yeah, she's the one that's saying. But honestly, going to the acting school again, one of the things I learned was how I can use my voice and how I can train my voice to be a singer, because anybody can really be a singer if you have a pitch and you train, I think.
Okay,
And well, so I've seen, so I've learned.
right.
Um, I just haven't put the work into it, but I definitely see myself like, like Zendaya again popped out of nowhere. She started singing, and it was with auto tune at first because it's Disney Channel and she's just getting into it. But
Right.
sis has a voice low
She
key.
can
So,
sing. Yes. Euphoria.
mhm,
The three songs I think she's done. Yeah, she's
right.
doing good.
And a lot of actors I think just pop out. And I don't know where Selena Gomez started singing out of nowhere. Um, so yeah, I think it's definitely in just that field. It comes with it hand in hand after so much experience.
Right. And I think also in the industry, if you can do more than one thing, it's better. I think like
For sure.
financially, I feel like for your own passion, like, oh, like I've done this for so long, let me try something else. I think back in the days, they wanted you to just stay in your lane. Like, no, you're an actor, that's it. Or you're a singer, that's it. But it's like, no, like, so many people do three things. So I feel like it's normal now. If you're not
Yes.
doing multiple things, it's like, oh, you're just doing that. But I
Yes.
like that. I like that it's changed. Do you
Mhm.
would you want to do more dance roles? Like play a dancer maybe?
Yes. Oh my
That's
God. That's
awesome.
like my dream. Like literally it's my dream to be like every single dance movie you could think of, like growing up watching that. I just wanted to be in it. Like
Step up,
Moose
honey.
from Step Up. Yep.
Yes.
Honey. All of them. I'm like, that's gonna be me.
Yeah.
That's
If
gonna
they
be
do
me.
another reboot, you're honey for sure.
I'm Honey. I'm in there.
That's so awesome. What do you enjoy most about acting?
Oh man. I think I enjoy being able to just like be me, like be my most like authentic, just like mask off, like no filter, just raw, anything, like I can be anything I want. And there's no judgment. And there's no like the grittier, the nastier it gets, the more they love it, like the uglier it is, the more real and raw it is, the better. And it's like once like I learned to appreciate me and how my face looks when it's not at its best, it's like that's still art, like even if you don't think you look good, it doesn't matter. It's like it's about the art,
Right.
and I think that's probably my favorite part. Just being able to be anything and anybody or say anything and act any type of way.
I find that so cool, and like every character has its own story and background, and like you can get lost in that character, and I'm sure it's probably therapeutic for you to like put yourself into someone else's shoes for a week, 2 weeks, a month, maybe half a year. I'm sure that's very therapeutic to like live someone else's lived experience, because most films there's a message, and like there's a meaningful thing that the audience can take away, but also I'm sure actors can take away too from playing that role,
Hmm.
depending on what type of role it is and the story. But yeah, I think it's really cool, like what actors do. Do you is there a role in particular that you really want to play? Um, like a certain type of role, like whether a superhero or like something far fetched, or like dream role.
Yeah. I think, oh man, I have a few, like I definitely want to do like some crazy horror movie. I think like
Ooh,
something about
okay.
horror and like, just like scary stuff like intrigues me. Like on some like the grudge type of
Okay.
energy, on some like crazy stuff.
Like really, really scary. Yeah.
Yeah. Or even like what's the show with Kerry Washington who plays Olivia Pope? Scandal.
Scandal. Yes.
That show is everything to me.
Like
Like,
political like drama.
yes, the drama, the fact that a lot of it is what goes on in the real world, the secretism, the way they carry themselves, the outfits. That's what gets me, is the
She looks good
outfits.
every episode.
Every episode on
Yes.
point. Like, and that stuff, yeah, I want to be like that, like, like,
Walk into DC
yeah,
with your briefcase, long
my
trench
pumps.
coat.
Yes.
Love that. Okay, so like a definitely a scary movie, gory type of role, but also a like girl boss, you know,
Business.
business. That's awesome. That's awesome. I could see that. That's awesome. And it's funny because when that show first aired, it's like, oh my god, like this really happened. And then we see what happened last couple years ago. It's like, oh wow, like it's scandal's not really so scandalous anymore.
Right. Right.
Some of those stories, it's kind of like Law and Order. Some of those stories, it felt like it was taken right from the headline.
Right. Yes. It's
You know,
scary.
crazy. As a Latina actress, do you try to make sure the roles you play are not stereotypical or demeaning?
Um, yeah, I think something I've also learned is when applying to roles, or when I'm in search of a new role, or if my agent gives me an audition, um, I definitely want to feel comfortable and interested in the role at least. Um, I don't feel like I'm like, not every role, just because you get a role doesn't mean you have to take it. I would say yes, most of the time, especially starting out, if you get an opportunity, take it. Like, say yes to everything. But I mean, and thankfully, I haven't had a role given to me that I didn't like appreciate, like that it was
Okay.
like, off, or like, it was like racist or anything like that.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, thankfully. But if I did get a role that I didn't connect with, or I just felt like that's not me, like I don't even want to play that, I feel like I'd be more than happy to turn it down.
Yeah, and have that courage because some people, like you said right before, it's like, oh, like I have to get it, like I have to work, I have to make money.
Hmm.
Let me take everything that I can get. But it's like have some intent. Like, yes, I understand why people do that because you have to put food on the table, especially if you have kids or whatever circumstances. But at the same time, have some integrity. If you can have the opportunity to choose, I think it makes the difference. We already have so many like demeaning roles for people of color out there in history, maybe on screen right now. I don't think we need to add fuel to the fire. And
Right.
I want to see more just regular roles, like a Latina version of whatever. Like pick a white story and just make, a black or Latino version of that. Because
Hmm.
white people get so many different types of roles. We've seen the jock, the athlete, the nerd. And it's like, where is that nuance for people who look like us? So
Hmm.
I like it when actors like yourself are you haven't gone through it, but are picky about what they choose. I think that's
Right.
important.
Yeah,
You
it
know?
is. And I also think that if you don't appreciate the role and you do it anyways, when it comes out and it airs, you're not going to feel confident enough to share it, to post it, to add it to your reel. So it also has to do with, say, who's producing it, or who's behind it, who's uh, paying for it. What do they support? What do they like? Say it's a cause that you don't even agree with, or like they're supporting like slavery or some crazy stuff. Like I don't want to work for them. You know.
Right. No, yeah. And when you sign on to that role, like you're co-signing the director, the production company, you're co-signing all these
Right.
people. So be careful what you put your name on with anything, but
Mhm.
especially with when it comes to like roles, television, film, commercials. What are you modeling? What are you holding up?
Right. Commercials, especially, people, a lot of the time, people get in trouble with that, like with Kendall Jenner and the Pepsi, or just like, anything.
Yeah, like that could have had someone just like spoken about the way in which the commercial is going to go down. Had someone like, maybe let's not do this. It would have been a completely different story. and she wouldn't have got dragged. But when people
Mm-hmm.
don't have certain important conversations and things like that happen, there's backlash. So I think little stuff like that. Pepsi may not be bad, but that thing, that script, whatever it was, wasn't really well thought out for
Right.
sure. Favorite memory. Speaking of modeling, favorite memory from a modeling shoot or trip.
Aw, that's a good question. Um, hmm. I would say I've had a lot of shoots, like a lot of personal for fun shoots, and then I've had also like shoots for clothing brands. And I think all of them are fun, but I think the best type of shoot is when you're with someone that you love, like that, whether it's your best friend or, your sister or your boyfriend or whoever, because you get to experience the greatness, but with someone else as well. So I've
Yeah.
had a few photo shoots with my best friend slash sis Erica,
Okay.
from back home in Florida. We've had like birthday shoots, just like best friend shoots.
That's so awesome.
And it's just so fun, like we just get lit and we do our thing, and then just looking back, like to this day, I can just look back at those photos and just be like, oh my God, look, you
Like,
know.
remember when I was doing this, or like, oh, remember that memory. I like that. And I think it could be modeling can be very exposing and very uncomfortable, like the lights and the camera and some weird guy yelling at you to pose like this, pose like that. So when you can like take that but make it fun and do it with like people you like, people you love, it's a better experience and it's more comfortable, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. On your Instagram, you wrapped Nikki's verse in seeing greens in different locations, which look like a behind the scenes from a modeling trip you took back in August 2021. I have to ask, what's your favorite Nicki Minaj verse? By the way, if you
I,
haven't seen it, please go to her Instagram. It was so I was like, what is oh, she's here. Oh, she's there. Oh.
oh my God. Yes, yes, we love a good Nicki verse. Damn, which verse? I mean,
Or
she
song
has
or
so many, like there's Chun Li. That one is one of the greatest.
yes.
I mean, seeing green, since I did that video to it, every time I hear the song, I will always think of that video, and I always say the verse word for word. So that
So
one is
good.
always gonna be like special to me. Um, but dang, I love so many. It's so
It's
hard,
so hard
like
to,
you're just
yeah.
yeah, I'm just a barb, like when you're a
Through and
barb, you're a
through.
barb.
I love that. When you took that video, was that multiple different trips or was that all one trip?
It was one trip, and I made it
Wow.
like I made it my mission to get a verse, like a line of the song with each outfit that I wore over like the 5 days.
That's so
Um,
awesome.
and I had my friend record it every single time. It took me like 30 minutes each time to get the one thing, but I did
Oh, okay. Because it looks
it.
like you see people on Instagram, it looks like they got it like the first or second time, but like, it took you a
No,
couple tries.
it takes you a long time.
Because you got to time it, you got to like
Yeah,
say
you
it the
gotta
way she's
sing
saying
it.
it.
I think, yeah, the hardest part is syncing your voice to it, because on the reel, whenever you put the timer on, the song doesn't start immediately. It like starts a second later. So then you have to like, it's
Oh,
just like,
okay.
yeah, you gotta like work with it.
Okay. It's a little different than TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's so cool though. Yeah, I had to ask that. I had to ask
I
that.
love that. Thank you.
Yes. Since it is Hispanic Heritage Month, my final question, what does being Latina mean to you?
It's everything. It's yeah. I mean, again, like I always say, I'm just always learning so much.
Yeah.
As an adult too, like when I turned 18 and I moved here, and I had no choice but to just see everything for myself. And through the people I met and the lessons I learned and the mistakes that I've made, I've, and also just the world that's going on today with everyone is just so, uh, I don't want to say like emotional, but everyone has something to say about everything, you know?
Yeah.
And so with that, I listen and I observe. And so I've learned just more about my culture, about all Hispanic culture. And I am also learning how much I can use Spanish, but I don't know it. Makes me just want to be like even more Hispanic, you know, like I want to just dive right into my culture and just learn everything and anything that I can because it's me, you know, like you don't realize. And I think it has to do with Florida growing up. I was around a lot of white people growing up. Like I will say
Okay.
in middle school, there was a couple years where I just had straight white friends and I would be listening to like country music and just like doing those Florida redneck things sometimes. And
Yeah.
I lost my Boricua. And I'm like, now that I'm around my people out here, I'm like, yes, this is me. I'm not white. I'm this. And not that being white is bad, but that's just not me. So I need to appreciate and embrace who I am. And so now I'm just like, you know, I went to Puerto Rico. It helped me so much. Like that Puerto Rico trip probably changed my life.
Wow. Okay. Were
Like
you reconnecting with certain family members they haven't seen in a long time?
not really family because, like I said before, I don't have that much
Oh,
family
right.
out there. It was just me and my girlfriends just going to the island and experiencing everything. And I felt like every other person that I saw was like it looked like my cousin, and it made me think like, wow, this is really who I am. Like this is where I'm from. This is where my people are from, and I loved it, and it was beautiful, and I felt so happy and so connected, and it made me just want to dive into it even more.
I like that. I love that. I think as I get older, I just want to like do my history on like Puerto Rico and like Jamaica and like family history, and like, I just want to learn more because I hear other people like there's this one guy that I interviewed on the podcast. His name's Dean Huertas, and he knows so much about like Latin American and Caribbean history. And I'm watching his TikToks and I'm just like, wow, like that's so cool. Like we're not taught this in school, and like my family teaches me some stuff, but of course not everything. So I definitely want to like watch more documentaries, read books because that's our culture. That's what makes you you. It's a big part of you. And I think it's just a beautiful thing to like celebrate that and to have knowledge about that. So I like that. And I think everyone should go back to their motherland or go back to the country that they're from because it definitely can like spark something in you that maybe
Yeah,
wasn't there before. You know.
100%.
So now we're gonna move on to some TCP rapid fire questions. You don't have to answer it quickly, but just some five quick questions. The first question: what makes you laugh the most?
Everything. I laugh at everything. I'm just such a goofy person.
Same. Even when I shouldn't be laughing, I'm like, I'm
Literally,
still.
literally silence. Or I mean, lately the videos and the memes that I've been seeing, like TikTok always makes me laugh. Like never fails.
Yes,
Never
yeah. It's
fails.
so like the algorithm on there is so powerful. I feel like Instagram used to be like that, like your explore page, like, oh, that's you. But
Hmm.
TikTok, I'll think something, and then like watch me go on TikTok right now, and it's like 5 places in Puerto Rico you need to visit. I was just talking about
Yes.
what? Yeah,
Yeah.
TikTok is it's crazy, but yeah, I love that too. Three things you're grateful for.
Being alive, my family, and the earth.
I like that. Okay, what would you tell your younger self?
Confidence is key.
Yes, same here.
No, no, I would actually tell my younger self to smile.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Rich, baby. Rich.
Yes, we're manifesting that. Yes, yes.
Just wealthy and happy.
Because with I saw a meme that was like, with my taste, I can't be broke. I was like, that's so relatable. And the last rapid fire question: what would you name this current chapter of your life?
I would name it Preseason.
Ooh, okay. I like that. Just getting started, very beginning of everything. I like that. Well, thank you so much, Destiny, for joining me on the podcast. Guys, I
Thank
wanted to have Destiny on the
you.
podcast for a while now, so I'm glad it finally happened. Thank
Yes.
you so much.
Thank you. I'm so happy that we had this conversation. It was really good.
Where can everyone follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram at Destiny Sky Ribot. And then on my Instagram page is my website, which has a lot of my acting and modeling work if you want to check it out.
Awesome, awesome. So yeah, be sure to leave a rating for the Cervantes Podcast on Anchor, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Cervantes Podcast YouTube channel, and click the notification bell up top so you're notified whenever I upload a new episode. Thank you guys for listening. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye, guys.